"Your children are mine now!" Don Vicente's voice thundered through the shack as he stood over Sofia, 8 months pregnant and newly widowed. Her husband had died in the landowner's mine just days before, and now Vicente was claiming her eldest to work off invented debts in the same darkness that had killed their father. Sofia had 24 hours before he returned with his men. That night, desperate and alone, she fled into a storm toward the one place Vicente's superstitious crew would never follow, the Coyote's Cave, where legend said no one who entered ever came out. But deep in those cursed tunnels, Sofia found something that had been waiting 30 years, something that would either save her children or bury them all. And what she discovered there would bring a powerful man to his knees. Tell me in the comments, how far would you go to protect your family? The rain fell like punishment across Sofia's back that October afternoon in 1898. High in the Sierra Madre, a storm determined to erase her and her children from the earth. The sky was a lead wound pouring freezing water that turned the goat path into a mud trap. Sofia, 26 and 8 months pregnant, didn't feel the cold. The terror in her blood was colder than any mountain winter. Her bare feet, bleeding and calloused, sank into the mud while wind howled through pines like the lament of cursed souls. Behind her came Lucas, 11, dragging 8-year-old Isabella and 5-year-old Gabriel by the hands. Their soaked clothes clung like frozen skin. Their ragged breathing mixed with thunder. Sofia didn't look back, but her ears caught something worse between the storm, the barking of estate dogs. Down in the valley, torches danced like angry fireflies. Don Vicente's men were coming. The landowner had delivered his sentence the day they buried Manuel. Her husband's death in the mine collapse wasn't enough. Vicente wanted more. He'd arrived that morning in shiny boots, demanding the house, the chickens, and worst of all, claiming Lucas and Isabella as payment for invented debts, condemning them to slavery in the earth's depths. Sofia, who had never raised her voice to any man, felt something break and rebuild inside her. Ancient, fierce, she would not let the mountain devour her children as it had devoured her husband. She waited for nightfall and led them into the storm, toward the only place where superstition might stop Vicente's men. The Coyote's Cave was suicide, trading certain slavery for terror of the unknown and legends of monsters. The climb was agony. Every meter was battle. Isabella slipped, scraping her knees, and screamed. Sofia covered her mouth with a mud-caked hand. Silence. If they hear us, there's no mercy. Lucas looked at his mother and understood. He was no longer a boy. He hoisted Gabriel onto his back, and they kept climbing, lungs burning. They reached the cave entrance as the last gray light died. The cave opened like a beast's jaws, exhaling cold breath that smelled of old earth and confinement. The children froze, paralyzed. "Mother, not there," Isabella sobbed. "Grandfather said the cave swallows people whole." Sofia turned. The torches were halfway up the slope. She could hear the overseer's drunken shouts. "Get in!" she ordered, voice like iron masking panic. "Whatever's in there isn't worse than what's coming up that hill." She pushed Isabella and Gabriel into the darkness. Just as Sofia entered, a gunshot cracked. A bullet struck rock near her feet. Vicente had seen them. The blast made the children run deeper, swallowed by stone. Sofia crouched and slid after them. The temperature dropped. Rain became distant echo. They were inside. The darkness was total, heavy as wet wool over the eyes, silence broken only by 4 children's ragged, tearful breathing, and water dripping from invisible walls. Sofia found the candle stub and matches wrapped in dry cloth, her most valuable treasure. She struck the match. Flame burst, revealing pale, mud-streaked faces and stalactites hanging like stone fangs. "Deeper," Sofia whispered. They couldn't stay near the entrance. They walked slowly. The floor was slippery with bat guano and loose stones. The air smelled of ancient dampness and something metallic that raised neck hairs. They found a natural alcove and collapsed. Sofia used her body and shawl as barrier between them and the frozen floor that sucked warmth from bones. Their damp clothes became icy second skins. They shivered violently. Her baby, still in her womb, kicked weakly. Sofia's hand pressed her swollen belly. 8 months pregnant, fleeing through mountains, hiding in a tomb. What kind of mother was she? The kind who would die before surrendering her children. Night fell. or what they supposed was night. Time blurred. Without sun, minutes became eternities. Sophia stayed awake, watching the invisible entrance, expecting torchlight or boot sounds. Every water drop sounded like footsteps, every rustle like unsheathed blades. When dawn must have come, she heard it. Persistent dog barking. They hadn't left. Vicente would wait until starvation forced them out. They were besieged. The second day brought new torment. The children's silence. No more crying. Just worrying lethargy from hunger and exhaustion. Lucas stared at nothing with premature maturity, painful to witness. Gabriel dozed, his empty belly making echoing sounds. Sophia divided the few hard tortillas into tiny pieces, refusing her portion. Eat slowly, chew well. It was the saddest meal of her life. Thirst became unbearable. Sophia collected water trickling down a stalactite in cupped hands. It tasted of copper and old minerals, but relieved cracked throats. She made each child drink, praying it wouldn't bring disease. Then she heard it, not from the entrance but from the depths. A rhythmic sound. Tap, tap, tap. Not water dripping. Something deliberate, mechanical. Fear became terrified curiosity. The candle had maybe 2 hours left before absolute darkness claimed them forever. Stay here and starve, or venture toward the unknown sound that might be salvation or doom. She looked at her children, trembling, hollow-eyed, and knew staying meant slow death. Lucas, the boy's head snapped up. I'm going deeper. Stay with them. If the candle dies and I haven't returned, her voice broke. Lucas nodded gravely. Go with God, Mother. Sophia kissed his forehead, a goodbye kiss, and descended the tunnel toward the sound. The path narrowed, the ceiling lowered. She walked hunched, scraping shoulders on rough rock. The air grew heavier, smelling not of rot, but of something preserved, like an unopened ancient chest. The sound grew clearer. Tap, tap, tap. The tunnel opened into a wide chamber. In the candle's dim light, Sophia saw a shape that didn't belong. A mound. A structure. She stepped forward. The light revealed something that paralyzed her with nameless horror. Not a beast. Not a demon. A camp, frozen in time. Decades old. Remains of a cold fire. Broken clay pots. A rotted blanket turning to dust. No life, only memory of someone who'd hidden here, as she was doing now. The rhythmic sound came from a stalactite dripping onto a rusted pewter plate. Tap, tap, tap. Then she saw him, leaning against the wall in peaceful death sleep, a complete human skeleton in tatters of dark blue fabric with tarnished brass buttons, old military uniform, reform era, maybe French intervention. The skeleton didn't inspire fear. It inspired infinite pity. Its empty sockets stared toward the entrance as if it died waiting for someone who never came. Most striking was what the fleshless arms clutched to the lap. A robust wooden chest reinforced with iron bands painted rust red by humidity. Skeletal hands rested protectively on the lid, even after flesh became dust. Sophia crossed herself, murmuring prayer for the unknown soldier. But curiosity and necessity waged war in her mind. What if the chest held coins? What if this fortune could buy her children's freedom? Forgive me, sir, she whispered, approaching. She knelt, touched the brittle fingers, moved them aside with a sound like chalk on slate. The uniform disintegrated further, releasing ancient dust. She gripped the wooden lid and pushed. The hinges shrieked, a metallic scream breaking decades of silence. The lid lifted. Sophia brought the candle close, expecting gold gleam, but there was no gold, only papers. Bundles tied with rotten cord, envelopes sealed with darkened red wax, a thick black leather book. Beneath, wrapped in oily rags, something heavy. She unwrapped it. Metal gleamed. 2 heavy revolvers, old but perfectly preserved, with ammunition boxes. Not money, death. Sophia replaced the weapons and took the leather book. She opened it with trembling hands. The calligraphy was elegant, firm. I, Colonel Agustin de la Vega, write these lines as my last will in the year of our Lord, 1868. I have stolen what by divine and human right belongs to the people of San Mateo, not to enrich myself, but to protect it from vultures who call themselves landowners. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Agustin de la Vega, the local hero who disappeared 30 years ago. The name old folks whispered. She kept reading, devouring words. The diary revealed betrayal and blood. How Vicente's father hadn't bought the estate. He'd stolen it, murdered community leaders, falsified deeds with corrupt judges, expelled families from ancestral lands at gunpoint. Agustin had stolen the original titles, royal grants proving peasants' legitimate ownership, and fled to the cave to protect them, waiting to counterattack. But a bullet wound infected and killed him slowly in darkness. The truth hit like a mine collapse. The debt her husband died for, the debt Vicente used to claim her children, all lies built on theft. Those lands belonged to the village families, to her family. The chest didn't contain gold. It contained something more powerful, justice. Tears rolled down her cheeks. This man had died alone, protecting the future of strangers, people like her. Then she saw it, on the diary's inner back cover, a drawing in charcoal, a map, precise cartography of the mountain's interior, a winding path from this chamber, bypassing abysses, ending at a point marked with a star and one word: freedom. The exit led not to the estate valley, but to the opposite side, San Miguel's communal forests, the free village that had resisted caciques. Sofia stood, wiping tears. No more fear, no more doubt. The widow's weeping transformed into cold fury. She would get her children out, and she would bring truth into sunlight. But then, a brutal blast shook the cavern's foundations. Floor vibrated. Dust and stones rained from the ceiling. Not thunder, dynamite. Vicente's men were sealing the entrance or blasting through to kill them. "I'm coming," Sofia whispered to the skeleton. Quick movements. She stuffed the diary and documents into her shawl, pressed against her body. Then, without hesitation, took the 2 revolvers and ammunition. The cold steel felt foreign, yet transmitted power she'd never known. She checked the cylinders, loaded, slung cartridge belts across her chest. She was no longer resignation. She was war. One last bow to Agustin's skeleton. Then she ran back through the narrow tunnel, protecting the candle, praying the collapse hadn't reached her children. She arrived as a second explosion shook stalactites like loose teeth. The children were awake, screaming, covered in white dust, falling from cracks. Lucas tried calming Gabriel. Isabella stared toward the entrance, expecting demons. When they saw their mother, eyes blazing, armed like a bandit, silence fell. Astonishment. "Everyone up!" Sofia shouted, voice cutting panic. "Take everything! We're leaving now!" Lucas saw the revolvers on his mother's chest. Eyes widened. But he understood. The rules had changed. Sofia secured the baby in her womb with one hand, took Gabriel's hand with the other. "We walked toward the depths. Don't let go. If someone falls, pick them up. No one gets left behind. You hear me? No one." She guided them deeper, following the memorized map, away from the collapsing entrance, into absolute darkness, through galleries unseen by humans for decades. The path was tortuous, narrow cracks, slippery ledges where one wrong step meant bottomless falls. Sofia led with the candle high, their only star, encouraging them, pushing them, transmitting strength drawn from pure rage. "A bit more, children. A bit more, and we'll see sky." Hours passed, or days. Exhaustion threatened to buckle knees. Gabriel cried silently, his short legs unable to keep pace, until Sofia threw him on her back. Now carrying 2 lives, the child on her back and the one in her womb, plus weapons and everyone's destiny. The water ran out. Thirst became torment. But the air changed. No longer stale, it smelled fresh. Pine resin, wet earth, free wind. Isabella saw it first. Light. At the tunnel's end, partially blocked by thick roots, a point of clarity shone. Not yellow candlelight. Gray, marvelous dawn light. They ran, forgetting pain and hunger, drawn like moths to life's promise. Sofia tore aside vines with bare hands. Cold morning air hit their faces, sweetest air they'd ever breathed. They tumbled out onto pine needles and damp grass under a clearing sky. A wooded slope, virgin and wild, far from the estate valley. Below, red tile roofs and chimney smoke of San Miguel, the free village. Sofia dropped to her knees, kissing the wet ground. Her children surrounded her, gasping, dirty as moles, but alive. She looked back at the hidden mountain crack they'd emerged from, then touched the documents under her clothes. The flight had ended. Now began the reconquest. The descent to San Miguel was silent procession under tranquil morning light. Sun-warmed wet earth raising golden mist. Sofia walked ahead, straight-backed despite weight, marking firm pace her children followed. They looked like specters risen from mud. Tattered clothes, skin stained with soot, eyes bright with exhaustion and feverish hope. As they neared the first adobe houses, the smell of burning wood and fresh tortillas hit empty stomachs like punches. San Miguel wasn't an estate. It was a free village founded by rebels generations ago, where great landowners' authority hit a wall of mountain stubbornness. Sofia and her brood's arrival didn't go unnoticed. Women sweeping stopped. Men herding burros removed hats, not from respect, but astonishment at this woman walking with wounded wolf's ferocity. She had one clear objective: the political headquarters. The stone building where resided law that couldn't be bought with estate gold. At the plaza, under centennial ash trees, people murmured. They recognized the misery in those faces. Unmistakable mark of estate serfs. But this woman was different. She didn't lower her head. Wasn't begging. Sofia climbed headquarters steps with bare feet, leaving mud tracks on clean stone. A drowsy guard tried blocking her way. "Back, woman. The chief doesn't receive beggars." Sofia stopped, looking him directly in the eyes with paralyzing intensity. "I'm not begging. I'm bringing truth. And if you don't let me pass, I'll shout it in the plaza so all San Miguel hears what the patrons hide." Her hand moved toward the revolver grip under her shawl. The guard, who'd seen much but never a look like that in an indigenous woman, felt a chill. He stepped aside, opening the door to a destiny that would change regional history. Inside smelled of tobacco, ink, old paper. Don Evaristo, 60 with gray mustache and wire-rimmed glasses, looked up from his mahogany desk, annoyed. Seeing Sofia and her 4 children, he assumed another useless complaint. "What is this? Who let you in like this, senora?" Sofia didn't respond immediately. She advanced to the desk. With deliberate movements, she extracted the black leather diary and document bundles from her clothes, dropped them on the polished desk with a heavy, dull thud. Cave dust stained the wood. "I am Sofia, widow of Manuel from Santa Cruz Estate," she said. "And this is proof that estate doesn't belong to Don Vicente. This proves they've stolen our lives and land for 30 years. Don Evaristo looked skeptically at the papers, but something in the diary's binding caught attention. He stretched out his hand, brushed the leather, recognized quality of a bygone era. He opened it and read the name on the first page in faded ink. Colonel Agustin de la Vega. Color drained from his face. He removed his glasses with trembling hand, looked at Sofia as if seeing a ghost. "Where did you get this?" he whispered, voice strangled. "The colonel disappeared before I was born. They said he was a traitor." "He wasn't a traitor," Sofia cut firmly. "He was a good man who died alone protecting what belonged to us." She pointed to the bundles. "There are the original deeds, royal grants, proof of how Vicente's father killed and falsified to steal everything." Don Evaristo began untying bundles, reading feverishly, confirming seals, signatures, dates. His skepticism crumbled before physical evidence of historical crime. What he held wasn't simple papers. It was legal dynamite capable of destroying Vicente's empire. The office silence grew dense, electrically charged. Sofia's children watched without daring to breathe. Finally, Don Evaristo closed the last bundle, leaned back, passed a hand over his tired face. He looked at Sofia with deep respect and some fear. "Senora," he said slowly, measuring words, "you know what this means? Vicente would kill half the state to burn these papers. You've just declared war." Sofia nodded. With slow movement, she half opened her shawl to show the revolver's grips. "The war already started, sir. He took my husband and tried taking my children. I'm only here to finish it." Don Evaristo smiled, crooked, determined, years falling away. He stood and pounded the table with his fist. "Sergeant!" he shouted with renewed authority. The frightened guard ran in. "Bring food, bread, milk, beans, quickly, and send for the telegraph operator. I need to send urgent message to the capital." He turned to Sofia. "You and your children are under San Miguel political headquarters protection. No one will touch you. And those papers go straight to a federal judge who owes many favors to Colonel Vega's memory." For the first time in days, Sofia's legs failed. not from fear, but immense relief. She wasn't alone in her fight. She sank into a chair. While her children devoured bread, she closed her eyes and saw the cave skeleton smiling in darkness. News traveled faster than Sierra wind through telegraph wires, invisible lightning setting fire to the region's apparent calm. Within days, San Miguel became epicenter of a legal earthquake threatening Vicente and the entire power structure built on theft and blood. Federal Judge Octavio Campos arrived from the capital with rural soldiers, incorruptible men immune to Vicente's gold. The trial wasn't held in closed courtroom, but in the plaza under ash trees, so all could witness history. Sofia stood before the improvised tribunal, no longer in rags, but clean-dressed village women had given her. Her children sat front row, eyes fixed on their mother with pride and fear. Don Evaristo presented documents one by one while a clerk read aloud. Original titles, royal grants, Agustin's diary describing in detail how Vicente's father orchestrated land theft. Vicente sat opposite, flanked by lawyers in expensive suits who sweated despite morning cool. His usually haughty face showed desperation cracks. When his turn came, Vicente stood, adjusting silk vest, pointing accusing finger. "This woman's a liar," he roared. "She's mad with grief. She murdered my men and invents stories. Those documents are forgeries." Judge Campos raised his hand, silencing him. "Señor Salvatierra, forensic experts examined these documents. Paper, ink, seals, signatures are authentic, dating 1840 to 1868. Unless you're suggesting Colonel de la Vega conspired with this widow to defraud you, sit down." Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. Vicente, red-faced, tried another tactic. He approached Sofia with a velvet bag clinking with gold coins. "Sofia," he said softly, almost paternal, "you're a good woman, desperate mother. I understand." He placed the bag before her. 500 gold coins. Enough to buy a city house, educate your children, never hunger again. Just say you found old papers and got confused about their meaning. The plaza fell silent, all eyes on Sofia. For 10 endless seconds, Sofia stared at the bag. Her hand moved toward it, fingers brushing velvet. Images flashed. Her children in clean clothes, at school desks, in beds with sheets, eating 3 meals daily. Isabella, front row, whispered almost inaudibly, "Mother?" Sofia's hand stopped. She looked up, not at Vicente, but at Colonel Agustin's invisible presence watching from cave darkness. She pulled her hand back as if burned. "My husband worked himself to death for a lie," she said, voice steady as stone. "I won't dishonor his memory living off another lie. Keep your gold, Vicente. It's as false as your father's forged deeds." She pushed the bag away. The crowd erupted in applause and shouts. Judge Campos stood, solemn. "In the name of the United Mexican States, I declare the lands known as Santa Cruz Estate returned to their legitimate owners, the 40 families of San Mateo Ejido, as stipulated in original 1840 grants." He struck his gavel. "Vicente Salvatierra, you're stripped of all rights. You have 72 hours to vacate. You're under investigation for fraud, falsification, and complicity in Manuel Mendez's murder." Court adjourned. Vicente's face twisted with rage. He lunged toward Sofia, pulling a small pistol from his jacket. "If I can't have it, neither can—" The shot never fired. Lucas, 11, moved with instinct speed his mother trained in the cave. He grabbed Vicente's wrist with both hands, twisting upward. The pistol discharged into air, bullet disappearing harmlessly into ash branches. Rural soldiers tackled Vicente before he could fire again. The crowd surged forward, righteous anger wave. But Judge Campos raised his voice. "Order! This man faces justice in a courtroom, not a lynch mob! Take him away!" Soldiers dragged Vicente off, still screaming threats, expensive boots scraping dirt trails. Sofia pulled Lucas to her chest, feeling his small body trembling. "You saved me," she whispered into his hair. "You taught me," he whispered back. The plaza erupted in celebration. Men threw hats, women wept and embraced. Children ran between adults, shouting joy. Don Evaristo approached Sofia, eyes damp behind glasses. "Señora Sofia, the village council voted. They want to give you the old Mendoza house by the stream. 4 rooms, fruit trees, good planting land. Yours, free and clear. Community gift." Sophia's mouth opened, but no words came. She simply nodded, tears streaming. That night, for the first time in what felt like years, Sophia and her children slept in beds with mattresses. The Mendoza house smelled of whitewash and cedar. Through the open window, stream sounds mixed with crickets. Symphony of peace Sophia had forgotten existed. She lay in darkness, one hand on her belly, the other resting on the table beside her bed, where the colonel's revolvers lay, cleaned and oiled. Isabella's voice came from the adjoining room, small and uncertain. "Mother, are you awake?" "Yes, mija." "Was it worth it? Everything that happened?" Sophia closed her eyes. She saw Manuel's grave, the two men she'd killed, faces frozen in memory. Agustine's skeleton alone for 30 years. Vicente's face twisted with rage and ruin. Then she heard Lucas's soft breathing, Gabriel's sleepy murmur, Isabella rustling in clean sheets. "Yes," Sophia said finally. It was worth it. But even saying it, she knew the answer was more complicated. Worth was measured in contradictions, freedom purchased with violence, justice tasting of ash, peace always carrying the weight of its cost. 3 weeks later, the birth came suddenly in the hour before dawn. The midwife had been waiting days. Sophia labored through morning, gripping the bed frame while village women pressed cool cloths to her forehead. Outside, her 3 children sat on porch steps, Lucas's arms around his younger siblings, all silent and wide-eyed. When the baby's first cry split the air, Gabriel jumped up. "Is mother okay? Is the baby okay?" The midwife emerged, smiling. "You have a sister, and your mother is strong as a mountain." They burst in. Sophia lay propped against pillows, pale and exhausted but radiant. In her arms, wrapped in flower-embroidered blanket, was a tiny, scrunched face with black hair. "Come meet her," Sophia said softly. They approached reverently. Even serious Lucas softened completely. "What's her name?" Isabella asked. Sophia looked down at the baby, then at the window where morning light painted the sky gold. "Esperanza," she said. "Her name is Esperanza. Hope. Not the false hope of the enslaving estate. Real hope. Earned hope. Hope that cost everything and meant everything." Later, when children were outside and baby slept in a cradle, Sophia lay staring at ceiling beams. The old midwife sat mending Gabriel's shirt. "You did well," she said without looking up, "both in birthing and fighting. The whole region talks about the widow who brought down Vicente Salvaterra." "I didn't do it alone," Sophia said quietly. "A dead man did most of the work." "The colonel?" "Yes. He waited 30 years for someone to find what he protected. I was just the one who looked." "Don't diminish what you did, child. Many would have found those papers and sold them back to Vicente. You chose the hard path." Sophia turned. "Did I have a choice?" The old woman's weathered face creased. "There's always a choice. That's what makes it hard." Through the window, Sophia could see her children in the garden. Lucas showing Gabriel how to plant beans. Isabella braiding grass crowns under the apple tree. They were laughing. Sophia still dreamed about the cave sometimes. In dreams, she walked dark tunnels forever, searching for exits that moved. The colonel's skeleton turned its skull to watch her pass, jaw working soundlessly, trying to tell her something she couldn't hear. She always woke with racing heart, hand reaching for revolvers. "You'll carry it always," the old woman said gently, reading her thoughts. "What you went through, what you did, it doesn't wash off, but it doesn't have to poison you. You use it to make sure your children never have to do what you did." Sophia closed her eyes, exhausted to her bones. "I'm so tired." "I know, child. Rest now. I'll watch over you and the baby." As Sophia drifted toward sleep, she felt the past week's weight finally settling onto her shoulders. Weight she'd carry for life, along with knowledge that she'd looked into darkness and found not monsters, but truth that set her free. The door closed softly. The mountains kept their secrets. And in San Miguel, a new story was being written, not of lords and serfs, but of people who took back what was theirs, led by a widow who walked through darkness and emerged carrying light. It wasn't the ending Sophia imagined fleeing into the storm. It was better than that and worse. It was real. It was hers. And for now, that was enough.